Juan Toledano, how are you? Buenas noches. ¿Qué tal? Bienvenido. All right. Today, I will be in daddy duties from the very beginning. So I will be on the watch out for my 5 months old son. So yeah, I might need to go and check on him from time to time, but hopefully he will stay asleep all the time. Fingers crossed. All right. So I will be continuing with the orc as we left it last time. I'm super busy lately, so I have no time to do anything on the side aside from client work. So yeah, I haven't been able to move forward with it. So yeah, let's see what happens and how much we can push it today. When I was looking at this, I realized that this kind of knife dagger, it was a little bit too, the handle was a little bit too small for his brutish huge hands. So I think I need to make it a little bit bigger and also make it less refined. Make it a little bit more basic and primitive, I think, the whole thing. But yeah, how it's been so far? How was your weekend? Mine was excellent, and really looking forward for the Christmas vacations. I don't know about you, but I need some vacations big time. Brian Doble, hello. I have wanted to watch, just have had no time. You have a great art. Have you ever done a dwarf? Well, thank you and welcome to the stream. Happy that you managed. And no, I don't think I have ever painted a dwarf, or not that I have memory. So if I have, it's been a very, 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 very long time. Dwarves haven't been one of my I've never been too interested on them. I like them as a kind of concept of a race, but yeah, never been too much interested. Yeah. So I guess that's why. George Bentley. Hey Miguel, good to see you again. And nice to see you here again. How are you doing? Brian, are you a fan of them at all? Oh, all right. there you go. I mean, once again, I like them. I enjoy them in any type of universe. So yeah, could be Warhammer, but of course in Lord of the Rings, and where I think that's where they are the most interesting as a concept of people. So yeah, I really enjoyed them, but they have never really captured my interest um, much. So I really enjoy them that they exist, or they exist in many different universes or in different ways. But yeah, as a concept, as a prototype, archetype of characters. But yeah, they are not my favorites. David Luca, hi Miguel, how are you doing, man? Hello, man. How are you? Welcome to the stream. Doing pretty well. A little bit tired or surprised, like always, but good. I cannot complain. With a lot of work and yeah, which is of course a good thing, but it doesn't leave me too much time to work on other things that I would like to do, which is a shame. So yeah, we'll see. But hopefully next year, let's see how it goes with the Patreon, and if I can divert more time to work on my project, that will be fantastic. So I will use some of my vacation time to uh, to work on things for the project and preparing for the yeah, to design and plan the Patreon and everything, and also with the tutorials for the how to paint a space marine. I am the project of the tutorials for how to paint a space marine. You can trust me; it's starting to be a big um, toll. I cannot wait to be done with them. Really, so much time and work. It's insane. And it's time that I could be doing other things like my project. So yes, so it's all good, but yeah, it's starting to be a heavy stone to lift all the time. It's like a heavy weight on my shoulders. So yeah, hopefully I can give during the Christmas and after Christmas like the final push, and to have them ready after Christmas. Um, and once I'm ready with them, then I can focus most of my attention to my project. How about you, David De Luca? How are you doing, man? How was your weekend? Oh, wait a second. Let's put the cozy fire. Josh, I'm good, thanks. I had a meeting with an industry pro today, got some feedback on my work. Excited to say I will be focusing on character concept art workflow in the new year and making a new portfolio. Nice. may I ask who was this pro? I'm just curious. And awesome. If you want to jump into, oh, there you go. There you go, guys. Here we have our beloved Photoshop bug. I cannot do anything. Just mouse cursor on it. Just let me change 1 second the screen and I will fix it. The thing is, this bug should be solved by now with some new Photoshop updates, but as I have shared with you before, I think I'm terrified of Photoshop updates because every time I update the program, it really fucks the program up in one way or another. So especially now that I'm so busy with client work, I cannot afford myself to lose time or not to be able to work because of the program not working. So I just I prefer just to live with the pain in the ass of this bug and but yeah, make sure that at least I can work. So yeah. But yeah, as I was saying that yeah, fantastic that you are deciding to move into oh, wait a second. Right, I think it's fine. He just makes noises sometimes, so I don't know if he is awakened or just sleeping or dreaming. But yeah, character design. Yeah, I love it. It's a difficult discipline, I think. Not as easy as people tend to think. That is just about making cool looking characters. But yeah, one that is so fantastic. I love it. So yeah, congrats for that decision. Josh, your work is and will continue to be a big inspiration on that front. Oh man, thanks. That means a lot. It feels weird, to be honest, to hear these type of things, even though I really appreciate it and makes me very happy to hear. But I'm not accustomed to hear something like that. But thanks, man. uh, Brian Doble, what is your project? Sorry if I'm asking all questions that have been have been answered before. Yeah, no problem, Brian. No problem at all. So my project is I don't want to talk much in detail about it. I want just to keep it kind of minimum what I'm gonna do. But what I can say, it evolves, or it goes around the theme of space pirates in with a very serious look into the theme of piracy, not from a romanticized look into what pirates are or were. So I will be very heavily inspired by real piracy through history. So I'm taking that as a major foundation or pillar for building this project, and with a very grim, dark tone to it. And it's a personal project of mine that I've been planning and working a little bit here and there, but mostly writing and planning for 4 years, and a little bit more, like 4 years and a half, more or less. And it demands or needs a lot of work, which I don't have time to invest into it. So since I need to make a living, that means that I need to be working for clients. But now, after 4 years of being freelancing, I feel that I can take away some of my risky move, but just to try to work with less client work, and use that time to work on my project. And for that, I would need to see if it works with crowdfunding, with Patreon to begin with, and see how it goes. But yeah, at least to cover a minimum, so I can afford to work on it, not full time, but some time at least of my working hours a week. And and I'm extremely excited about it. If you like science fiction, and if you like space pirates and dark and gritty type of settings, and cruel and epic, then you will probably like this. So yeah, that's what I can say so far. I mean, when I start with it and with the Patreon, then I would make a proper presentation in depth of what I'm trying to achieve, because I think it's the minimum I can do, right? So I don't want to ask for people to join in and support the project if they don't understand what they are getting into. So yeah. And hopefully at some point I can do a Kickstarter with it, and and So yeah, exciting times, and as I say, I'm obsessed with this project. I've been thinking about it for so many years now, and I I know it's awesome, at least in my head. But yeah, and just to give you a little bit of perspective of the type of work that I've been doing for the most part during these years, is since I haven't been able to really spend time actually painting or designing or writing, I have dedicated this time for the most part making research, so reading a lot about history of piracy. So so I could have a deep understanding of what it's been its role in historical terms, and all the interesting things that have been happening, and everything around piracy. And it's just only the history, and there are many different periods and stuff like that, but just when you read about it, is I mean, it's not surprised that there has it's something that has inspired so many authors to create a lot of different types of fiction work around it. Right? It's fascinating. And when you start to understand really what what was everything about, and then you start to take away all these pop culture look into piracy, and taking away all the glamour, you see how horrific is, and all the conditions, and yeah. So that's kind of the approach that I want to give it. I want to make it very plausible and real in all its cruelty, violence, and nastiness. Um, for all parties involved. But of course, I mean, at the same time, I have to say that, of course, what I'm doing is just is science fiction and a fiction thing. So it's not anything historical. So it's just taking a heavy inspiration from history. But that's all just inspiration. And from an aesthetical point of view, what I could it's a we'll see yet, but a strong foundation would be there will be something leaning towards diesel punk. Uh, mm, but yeah, difficult to say at this point, since I haven't really started to work on it, and a lot of it's going to be about visual development, right? So all of that is still to see, and how it ends up. But yeah, at least that's the one of the main uh, directions I'm aiming for, at least for now. We'll see what happens. But David De Luca, pretty good. I have watched the new Dune movie, and also the one from the 80s from the first time. I have fallen in love with the story, the characters. It's amazing. Oh, nice. Yeah, Dune. Yeah, it's a masterpiece of of a book. Uh, I'm a little bit more. Um, um, how could you say? I'm a hardcore fan of the book. Um, so even though I really enjoyed the film, and I think it's good, it did a good job. Um, but I feel it fail in some important areas, not in any way or form a fault of the people that worked on it. It's just that I think what is to blame is the format they chose to do the adaptation, and it's just a film, or in this case, two films. It is the Book of Dune is such a complex book that tried to resume and make an adaptation in even in two long films. It's too little. It's the wrong media. They should have gone for a miniseries to do it justice. So the main issue I have with this newest adaptation to film is that it feels more like a checklist. Uh, so, but it lacked, at least personally, of course. So um, it's a very personal thing. It just lacked the intensity of the storytelling and the moments that are so intense on the book. I felt that in the film they are just like check, and this happened, check, and we need to show this character, check, and we need, and this major thing happen on the plot, check. But they don't have the time to really develop and to make the viewer feel what I mean, the importance of the things that are happening. So it feels like very superficial things happen, but it's, you know, that's my criticism. But again, it's not a, I mean, visually speaking is fantastic, and I don't see anything wrong with the film aside from that. So it's more like in my humble opinion, just a mistake of the medium that they chose to do the adaptation. It's just too little time. I think, to be honest, the original vision from Jodorowsky, that he said that he wanted to do a 15 or 17 hours film, is actually, even though he was being taken as a madman at the time, is actually correct. Which, of course, it couldn't be a single film, but like a miniseries, for instance. That would be the best way to do it. But anyhow, I mean, again, sorry, I just rant, and it's just that I'm a huge fan of the book. I love that book. It's so insanely good and so important. It laid so many foundations for so much science fiction, fiction in the after it. I mean, here that there are so many 40k lovers, me among them. The 40k universe just takes so much from Dune, so much. And part of it is just that Dune and the story it tells has this uniqueness in the sense of it's different from anything that was written before and even after. I would say it has this flavor that makes it so unique, and the film doesn't manage to capture that to its fully. I mean, another criticism that I have, and again, I'm just being very picky because I mean, visually, it's great work. I have nothing to say, but like they did a fantastic job. The only thing that I see as an issue is that in many cases I feel that it suffers from falling into very, how could I say, fashionable trends in concept art from nowadays, um, and some that I don't necessarily feel that fit so well with the world of Dune. So again, everything looks fantastic. Everything is great designs, but in, in my view, it could have tried to go with something a little bit more less safe and try to go with something a little bit more risky, because the the book demands that. Because once again, it's a story, it's a world, a universe that is very unique in that sense. It doesn't fall into the typical tropes of science fiction. Um, so yeah, I think it could. I mean, and of course, I'm very aware that this thing that I'm saying here from my home is like, well, it's of course it's very easy to say, but extremely difficult to do. So yeah, so I'm aware that I'm being extremely picky in that sense. And once again, I don't want to detract any of the fantastic work that has been done for the film, because it's yeah, it's super high quality, visually speaking. But yeah, and they are, and I'm talking in general terms because, for instance, there are certain designs that I think they are absolutely perfect, because I think they managed to capture very well that uniqueness. But some other designs, they fall into this more trendy fashion of nowadays concept art. I feel so. Yeah, but some particular designs, I thought they were just perfect, just absolutely perfect. Um, for example, the imperial um, committee that goes to visit them on the very beginning. I think the costume designs are just perfect. Yeah, sorry about my rants. I just feel very passionate about this type of subjects. I mean, yeah, I love about all these nerdy subjects as last stream where we were talking about space marines and yeah, silly topics, but I love them. Josh, his name is John Dwyer. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me name dropping. He does quite a bit of mentoring. All right. I'm absolutely terrible with names. N- so right now it doesn't ring a bell, but I probably know his work. So later I will just do a quick I googled search and see, and probably say, ah, yes, of course. I'm I'm very bad with names normally. Uh, Lucius, hola peeps. Hola Lucius, how are you doing, man? Welcome. Brian, it is a graphic novel. No, it is not. It is not a graphic novel. No. That's what I mean. I don't want to talk much about it. It is not a graphic novel. It could be in the future. That could be in the future, but no, it is not. It's something more. It's gonna be focused on something in one direction at first because I had to start with something, but it's a very ambitious vision for the project. So it could be many things in the future, but yeah, I will leave it at that. Niblert, hello guys, hello, welcome. How are you doing, man? Welcome back. Brian Doble, sounds really interesting, man. That's very glad to hear that um, it sounds like something interesting. Of course, anything can sound interesting, but the the truth of the matter is like when you start to see things, if they really are catch your attention, right? So that will be the the real test when I start to show things. And so that's one of the few things that I'm trying to do now on the side when I can, and is to start doing some material so I have something to show on the beginning, so I don't start opening a Patreon and I have absolutely nothing to show to kind of help people to decide if that's something that they might consider to contribute. So yes, so hopefully whatever I show in the future still keeps your interest, hopefully. But I mean, I cannot avoid it. I think it is an awesome project, and of course, it's me saying it's of course, but I truly believe it. It's I don't feel that I'm some kind of Don Quixote. I just like I truly think it's a very interesting project, and it has a lot of potential for people liking it. And also has the novelty. I haven't seen anything similar or with the vision that I'm trying to do. So also that's something good. Carnivores. Hey Miguel, it's Alex again. Hey man, how are you, man? Welcome, welcome. Very glad that you decide to join back. Glad I caught you stream. I'm working on a Warhammer illustration for a game mod, a loading screen, and struggling with rendering. Oh man. Yeah, I feel your pain. If it's a complex illustration battle scene or something of that kind, then yeah, it's it is not easy thing to do. But of course, it depends on what type of art direction you are going for. They are asking you to do, but to be, at least in my experience and my humble opinion, but to get closer to like real and genuine Warhammer style, I wouldn't worry too much about rendering. So just render things enough so they are understandable, but leaving things loose and painterly, it's not more. It's not just okay, but it's actually something that help to give that style, or help to bring it back to the classic style of illustrations. I don't know, my 2 cents. Just trying to think, what should I do? Bane, hi. Can you give me advice as a beginner in 2D drawing to practice and not make gross mistakes? Just a quick tip from a professional, where to start. Well, that's a difficult one since it's so generic. But all right, yes, I can give you many tips, important tips, I think. And perhaps they are not so specific from a technical point of view, but more from a mindset. And is that don't rush things. Sorry, I'm just trying to check in on my son, if he's asleep or not. Sorry. So, I mean, it's a very long and arduous journey. Especially if you are just starting. You said you are a beginner. So don't rush things in terms of don't worry too much about how. Don't be too quick, or don't try to be fast in terms that don't try to cut corners. Don't obsess yourself that you need to get somewhere because others are already there. Things take time and a lot of work and persistence, and it's a painful and frustrating journey, but it's something that you need to embrace and get used to it and accept it as part of the journey. So if things doesn't go the way you want, in terms that you are struggling with something, and you try and try and it doesn't, it resists, it's like, just don't don't get desperate. It will come. It's gonna take a little bit longer, perhaps, but you will get there. So yeah, it's this, especially nowadays, because there is with social media and internet, it's so easy to compare yourself with others, and you feel that pressure that a lot of people are very good and you are not yet, and don't, just focus on your journey, on where you are and what you need to do, and it, if it takes longer, then that's what it needs, and it's okay. So yeah, think of it, this is a super marathon type of run, not a sprint, like a 50 meters long sprint. It takes a very long time to get good at it, and you need to accept it and embrace it, and embrace all the hardship and frustration that comes with it. Accept it's part of it, and it will be fine, or it will get easier in that sense. So yeah, I think that's kind of the best type of tip that I can come up with for a beginner. It's you're never gonna get how could I put this? It's like you always want to reach certain level, right? And it's very common to say, once I reach this level, it's gonna be fine. But what you start to see with a little bit of time and perspective is that once you reach that level, you find out that there are like infinite levels above that, and you are always learning and always growing as an artist. So that's what I mean, that you don't have to rush things, because when you understand, there is no stop learning and getting better at it. So yeah, just enjoy the ride. And so it's not about about reaching certain levels, but just enjoy the ride. That's the best thing that I can say. Enjoy everything about the journey, even if it can be very frustrating at sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody that is starting and see somebody like me, not for anything particular, but just I'm a professional. So it's like, yeah, everything is fine with Miguel and what he does. It's like, no, I myself, where I see myself as an artist, I'm very frustrated with lots of things, and I struggling with lots of things myself, and things that I want to achieve, where I want to get better. So it's a constant struggle. There is always, and that doesn't mean that I cannot enjoy and I cannot be fulfilled by the experience, but just the knowledge that the frustration, and when things doesn't go the way I want, and or that I feel that I'm far from the things that I want to achieve, it's just part of the journey, and it's just time. If you put energy and effort, and you work smart, you will eventually get there, always, no matter what. So yeah, so there you go. Brian Doble, so you're not having a Johnny Depp type in it? No, no, definitely not. And nothing wrong with those type of fictions, right? It's just another option. But no, I'm going with a very I'm going very far from the romanticized look of pop culture into pirates. Like the good guys, or because they are not even neither good neither bad. They are just people, and they are the results of the time they had to live, right? So I want to represent that, focus into that a lot. Rick Vito, thanks for the follow. Thank you, and welcome to the stream. Much appreciated. So again, it's gonna be very grim and dark. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of that, and hopefully very epic as well. that's one part that I feel it is important as well. In, I want a certain level of epicness into it, but in a sober way. I don't know if that makes sense. So it's kind of a more mature look into these things. That's the best way I can put it. Sergio Ponce. Hello, Miguel. Hello, Sergio. Welcome. How are you doing, man? Brandon, I have heard that he wants to do 3D films. I'm not sure what you are referring to, Brian. You lost me there, but yeah, it's my fault because I'm so behind on the chat. But another thing that I'm doing, for example, in terms of research, is reading and trying to look a lot into make things as plausible as possible to a certain degree. I mean, in the context of science fiction universe. So even though it is things doesn't necessarily need to be explainable 100%, it's still science fiction, right? So I can't get away with lots of things, but at least I want to have certain level of plausibility in how things are or work to a certain degree. So because that's how I like my science fiction for the most part. One of the reasons, for example, why I am enjoying immensely the books of the Expanse, for instance. Sergio, the brush of your tutorial don't work in my computer like works in yours. Oh no, how is that? This is the brush from the tutorial. What is it that doesn't work that way? I mean, have you follow step by step the tutorial, because then it should work in the same way. Brian Dole, I read the book after the movie, and there is so much more in the book. Oh yeah, but the Dune. Yeah. I mean, that's. I'm guessing that you are talking about that. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, once again, I mean the film. It's. I don't see any major problem, right? I don't see. It's not a bad film, but just there are so many key moments on the story that are so intense. I mean, one of the huge challenges of making an adaptation of this book as a audiovisual medium as a film is the fact that on the book, a lot of the narrative is described or given to the reader through the thoughts of the characters. We read their thoughts, right? So how can you translate that into a film? It is very difficult. So what happens on the film is that well, they had two choices. They could have done as on the 80s film, where they actually make the actors speak their thoughts, like in voice off, right? So we hear their thoughts. That's one approach. Another approach is the one that they decided to do with the newest film, and is that we don't hear those thoughts. We only see their faces, right? So in order to condense some of the complexity and intensity of those thoughts that the characters go through, I mean, they can pull it off if they have a very long time to do that, and to give time the audience to kind of interpret those thoughts. But since everything is condensed in such a narrow period of time, then the result, once again, in my humble opinion, is that key moments on the story that are extremely intense or its implications in the book are completely lost in the film. Everything is understandable, things happen, and there is a logic to it, but it loses the drama, it loses the epicness of it, I think. So they should have done like the Foundation TV series. They should have gone with that TV series, or a mini series at least, not a film. David Luca, very interesting. I will read the book. I'm totally hooked. Which one do you prefer, the old Dune movie or the new one? Well, the new one. I think it's. I mean, if I had to compare, I mean, in from this perspective, I think the old movie it's bad. Something that the new one I don't think is a bad film. The old film has some great things in it. At the same time, it has some things that are fantastic, and from a visual point of view, I think there are better approaches than the new one. For instance, that fit better the universe. But overall, as a whole piece of work, I think it's the new one. It's better. Carnivorous. They left the art direction pretty open, but it is a large scene with a lot of metal, gold, of course. Horses, big open sky. One of those pieces that feels like a real battle. Has its ups and downs. Okay, yeah, man. As I was saying, I feel your pain. It is. Those type of scenes are quite challenging, and it is not easy. But yeah, I don't know if, in my own experience, I think the best thing to do is just to focus on a focal point, and the rest, the farther you get from that focal point, just to loosen things up, so it makes it a little bit easier for you, but also in terms of readability. But yeah, I don't. I think that's me. And by the way, you mentioned last week that you were going to Australia for work. Is am am I recalling right? And if that is the case, may I ask what studio are you going for? I'm assuming it's for video games. But man, if that is the case, how exciting! Australia. Wow. I don't know. Maybe I just making it completely up. But I kind of remembered that you mentioned something of the kind. Um, Teclado. Hola, Miguel. Hola, Teclado. ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenido al stream. Carnivores is for Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord, if you know the game. I think I do. I never played it, but I think I do which one it is. So there is a Warhammer mode for it. Nice. Man, what would it be about the video games world without mods, right? My son is doing some noises. Just yeah, I think it's fine. But yeah, going back to talking about books and science fiction, as I mentioned, I'm the Expanse books. Oh my goodness, they are so good. I'm really enjoying them. I mean, if you like science fiction books and stories, I cannot recommend them enough. And I enjoy, for example, how gritty things are in the Expanse as well. Something that I really enjoy that aspect. It has a very sober and mature take on things, which I really appreciate. The bad guys and the good guys are not. It's not black and white, right? Everybody. I mean, you can see why the bad guys are that way, and you can actually what's the word in English? You can it really escapes my mind at the moment. You can relate to them, how they reach that point, and their point of view as well. Sometimes you see that it's not a matter of just good or bad people, but it's just like different point of views of things, as so much happens in the real life and through history as well, which makes it also pretty depressing and sad at the same time. If everything was as easy as, this person is just bad, things will be much easier, right? But it is a very muddy and gray zone. So yeah, there's a lot of that, and I really like it. I'm on plenty of other things. It is epic as hell. And for instance, another aspect that I really enjoy is that it creates, for example, like how things work, right, with the spaceships and things like that. So we are so used now in pulp culture of spaceships just being horizontal, right, like a car or like a normal ship, right? Like in Star Wars or any type of pop culture type of science fiction. And we are accustomed to think of it as cool, with this kind of gravity magic on spaceships. And in these books, the author, he's not afraid to just go with a more realistic approach and try to build around things the way they are supposed to work to a certain extent, and build upon of that and make it look cool. And I love that. I think it's such a it's a little bit like, if you think, I was thinking about this the other day. To a certain degree, I see certain similarities the Expanse with Game of Thrones. I'm talking about books, all right, not a TV series of either of them. In terms of that, in the genre of fantasy, there are plenty of tropes, right? And you can read plenty of books that they go with, all have orcs, all have elves, all have dwarves, to give some random examples, and all use all the same kind of formulas, and they become tropes for the genre. So the same thing happens with science fiction. And in the same way that the books of Game of Thrones kind of just go for its own thing, and manage to make it epic and absolutely awesome. The Expanse do the same thing, but in science fiction, and I love that. Bane, thank you very much. I will try hard. Man, once Bane, once again, I mean, it's nothing that big. It's just like more of a mindset of just continue to grind and don't have any rush to get there quick. Just take as much time as you needed, and it's okay. I mean, I'm 40 years old, and I've been painting since I was a little kid, and everything counts. So, and I still have memories from being a very, very, very young kid and being extremely frustrated because I couldn't draw something, right? So it's just time. It is just time, and it doesn't. Yeah. So and it's the same for everybody. So yeah. So enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. That's the most important thing. Rick Vito, glad I found you. How often do you stream? Rick Vito, glad that you found me. I stream now. My plan is to stream on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Central European Time. I will do a small break for Christmas, but yeah, that's gonna be. I will do one more stream next week, I think, if nothing change. But and then I will do a small break for Christmas, and then I will be back. But yeah, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Central European Time. Ryan, haven't you read Stormlight archive books? They are epic fantasy with a lot of sci-fi, in my opinion. No, I have not. Sergio Ponce, I don't know. Maybe it is the version of Photoshop. I made it in CC 2020. Uh, well, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm not an um, software expert, so I don't know. I mean, the thing is, at the end, it doesn't matter so much about the version because the fundamentals are the same. So if some preferences are hidden or set in a different way, still it works in the same way. So yeah. Think, of course, I want him to have a big scar in his face. I don't know why I have such an obsession with scars. There's never enough scars. Juan Trujano. Coffee, Miguel stream and drawing night. Nice. Yes. How many of you guys are painting or drawing at the moment? Please tell me that you are many. Carnivorous, you are not wrong. I am indeed going to Australia, but not because of work. My partner is a doctor out there. She moved earlier this month and I'm applying for my visa now. Aha, alright. Hopefully I will get there by February, but I'm currently looking for work there. We decided to go there just because we have always wanted to live abroad, might only spend a couple years there. I'm lucky because my partner's employer has also sponsored me for a visa. Nice, fantastic. Well, and can you maybe work as a freelancer from there? Perhaps that's an option for you. So moving to a different country is not such a big change. But of course, yeah, the life and work of a freelancer has its own challenges. So yeah, it is not easy either. But man, fantastic. What an adventure. Oh, now, yes, I need to go and check on my son. 1 second, I will be back. Right, I'm back. He dropped the pacifier, so that was the problem. Man, I never get used to this English word for this thing for the pacifier. It's things for babies, but I cannot avoid it. Just think pacifier for me, just like the sword of a barbarian warlord from the North Plains, a magic sword, the pacifier, or something like that. I don't know. Feels a very odd name. The
pacifier. Yeah.
Quick question, David De Luca. For how much time did you study fine art? And how helpful was it for your professional career in concept art? By the way, I have listened to the Meditaciones de un Escultor podcast. It's great. Yeah, it is. It is a great podcast. Yeah, it is. I couldn't agree more. It's fantastic. Um, well, I studied for 3 years. So I did kind of half of the studies there, and then I was working and studying at the same time, and then I got the chance to move to Sweden. So then I just I had to drop it, but I was working already. So fine arts, I think, in my experience, was it depends on how you use that time yourself. So it can, of course, it depend on where you studied and how they focus things. But from a technical point of view and more academic, you can learn quite a lot. I think I learned a lot of things, useful things, but maybe not so useful for concept art. But more as a some basic things from a technical point of view, and certain techniques, of different traditional mediums and sculpture and things of that sort, right? So I really enjoyed my time there on fine arts, but I was already working first on the 2D animation and and then on video games. So I actually joined fine arts between jobs to have something to do while I was trying to find a new job in between projects for animation. So yeah, but also, like I was saying, I think, I don't know, things might have changed, but when I was doing it, I think it plays a big role as well where you study it. So there are some places where they kind of dropped the more academical approach to things, and they go more with contemporary art and conceptual art. Conceptual art in the traditional view, so not concept art. And and then in that case, it's more, in my opinion, a waste of time. But if you end up in a university where they keep a more academical type of approach, then you can learn a lot. But it's up to you. So I see a lot of people that have a very critical opinion, and they, as if all the responsibility to make a good use of that is on the institution or and yeah, and I think it's also depend on students and their attitude, and yeah, because I mean, one of the good things I see from fine arts is that it's not so much about studying certain curriculum, but it's since you have to do a lot of things yourself and experiment, is what you do with that time and how you focus your work, and so you can actually be very productive and learn quite a lot if you have the right focus and attitude. So I don't know. I think to me it was a great time, and I wish that I would had a little bit more time to continue, but yeah, I didn't have the time to continue. So I did half of fine arts in Spain, and then I dropped. Why are you asking? Are you considering to do it, to study? At the moment, I'm trying to do a portrait, but I'm struggling with getting the model likeness. Yeah, that's that's what it's everything about, right? It's just practice. One of the key things for portraits, it's really one of these things that I talk a lot, or I mention pretty often, and it's as an artist, you need to. I mean, it's extremely important to get the ability to observe, not just copy, but just observe and understand what you are looking at and why things are the way they are. Um, so when you see somebody's face, to really observe the features. What is it that makes this nose the way it is? What makes it so unique? You know, what makes these features so characteristic? Yeah, but yeah, not an easy thing. Um, Carnivores, yeah. Well, fortunately, a lot of studios are offering remote positions, but there just aren't that many studios in the same time zone or in Australia in general. Yeah, that's what I thought. Although one company has offered me freelance work on arrival, which is nice, but we'll have to see how much work they have and how much they will pay. Well, okay, but that's pretty neat that at least you have something to begin with. So that is very nice. Um, of course, yeah, like you, like yeah, no, fine. You never know until things. develop. If something that I have learned freelancing is that you cannot get anything for granted until you sign a contract. Yeah, it has happened many times that literally on the last second, some potential clients, they just like decided to drop and stuff of the kind. So yeah, unless it is signed, cannot get anything for granted, that's for sure. But again, man, Alex, how exciting! And Australia, to the other side of the globe. My goodness. When I moved from Spain to Sweden, I thought I already was like, wow, that's quite an adventure here. But at least you are not going alone, also, which that is a big plus. Lucius, always painting in here. Nice, Lucius. Yes. My composition is going well so far. Hope I don't jinx it. Exploring chaos, knights, and nobles in this painting. Chaos. I love chaos. All right. just didn't like the guard here with the dagger or a knife, whatever it is. No, that was my dog, Bilbo. Hey, Bilbo. There, here comes Bilbo. All right, let's see. Where was I? Sergio Miguel, the speed painting of your sketch series on YouTube can be used like speed character design or concept art. Yeah, for sure. More like exploration or sketches. But yeah, of course. I mean, important thing you need to take in consideration with this type of things that you need to put it in context, right? So those sketch series are I'm just doing it just as a warm-up and nothing else. But in terms of the level of finished for an exploration phase, yeah, that's certainly how I work. So yeah. David De Luca, yes, I'm considering fine art, but I also want to train the skills of drawing from imagination and doing illustration. David De Luca, all right. Well, I think, again, as I was saying, fine arts can be very good thing to do depending on how you focus your energy and attention when you are studying there, right? And so for fundamentals and from an academic a perspective on arts, then it can be nice, but you also need to know where you go to study, right? For example, the fine arts, what would be, well, la Facultad de Bellas Artes of the La Complutense in Madrid, it's more academic focused or view, right? So it's, if you want to learn how to paint and fundamentals and drawing and all those type of things and sculpture, then it's pretty good. If you go to another one that is more, modern and contemporary, and then it is a little bit more waste of time. Skills of drawing from imagination. Well, that's something that you can always do on your own, but I think it's extreme. In order to be, how to put it, in order to be good at drawing from imagination, you need to build a solid and wide mental library, and the only way to do that is just by studying, doing studies and painting and drawing the things by looking at them. Not so. So you don't get, let's say, you don't get good at drawing from imagination cars without copying and drawing looking at cars first. Does it make sense what I'm saying? So you always will have to do that in the first place. Um, so yeah. Um, then doing illustrations, I don't know what they offer now, and if there is something more directed to illustration. But still, once again, I mean, if you're gonna learn some things about how to paint and fundamentals, then all those things you can always apply them to illustration, right? But you will also, like anything, you will learn lots of things or skills that you might think they are not relevant to those things, but still they can give you some wider understanding of certain things, and that's always something good. So yeah. But remember you mentioned something also about concept art, but now you are referring to illustration. And those things are two very different disciplines, all right? So I just want you to be aware. Being a concept artist has nothing to do with being an illustrator, and an illustrator is not a concept artist. It's very, very, very different jobs. So you need to think of a concept artist more as a designer. And I know there's a lot of confusion because there is a lot of illustrators. I mean, since nowadays, since concept art has become such a known thing or discipline, and for some reason, very among people that are interested in these things, like very flashy and things like now everybody says, "Oh, I'm a concept artist," when they are not. Um, they are just illustrators. So they tend to spread this kind of to muddy the water, so to speak. So it's very, very different type of jobs. There are fantastic illustrators that have that would be extremely bad concept artists, and the other way around. And at the same time, there can be plenty of illustrators or concept artists that can be very good illustrators, and the other way around. But I mean, again, it's very different disciplines and require many very different type of um, knowledge and set of skills. Carnivorous. I mean, moving to any new country, no matter how far, it is a big deal. Yes, yeah, no, that's sure. The only difference is travel time, and they speak English over there, which is a big advantage for me. If anything, culturally, they probably aren't too different. I will probably struggle more if I move to like France or something, even though it is just over the channel. Yeah, that's true. I mean, all these things are relative, of course. So yeah, it's plenty of different factors that can play. But yeah, nevertheless, quite an adventure, and in a positive way, always. Even if at the end it doesn't turn as good as one hoped, it's always, I think, I don't know, in my opinion, I think it's always a very good and nice experience. Especially, I mean, of course, for any person, right? But I think for us as artists, I think it's extremely important um, to go around and travel and experience other cultures and ways of living. I think that enriching our vital experiences enriches our way of understanding, and then it affects in a very positive way our work as artists. I tend to believe. If you are sitting all the time in your cave at home and don't experiencing anything else than what you are accustomed to, uh, yeah, it's fine, I guess, but you are limiting yourself and your growth as an artist, I think. They look so cute. Love dogs. Nice. Yes, me too. Yeah, exactly. I do both studies and also do illustrations and concept, always referring back to references. I know the difference between concept art and illustrations, but I think I am more drawn towards illustrations. But I'm still trying to figure things out. That's why I ask about concept art. All right, nice. That's good that you are aware. Um, and yeah, if you are still not, I mean, um, you are trying to figure out things, then it's just a matter of trying. Oh, sorry, I mean, my son again. I need to go. Probably is the pacifier. Right, I'm back. Yes, it was the pacifier. And well, actually, we are getting to the end of the stream. I would love to stay a little bit longer, but I need to go to bed because, yeah, nowadays I get up very early in the morning, and yeah, I will be super tired if I don't. Where was I on the chat? Carnivores, I agree. No matter how it turns out, it will be an amazing and beneficial experience. And yeah, as an artist, traveling does so much for your visual library. Totally. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Black Monolith, dude. Hello, welcome. And yeah, sadly, man, I'm just about to close the stream. Can you ever see things through your own eyes and not photo or other artist representation is basically studying in itself? Yes, yes. It's if you take the time to absorb what you are seeing, exactly. That's one of the things that I feel a lot of the art community around concept art and around that support itself so much on internet suffers quite a lot. And you see that a lot of people just only take references from the internet and other artists instead of going outside and just express something of their own, right? And so that's why you see so many the same type of things on our station or other social media. It is important just to get outside and start to see the world and experience it, and then that way you start to shape your own vision as an artist as well. Says the one that is just making a generic fantasy orc, but such an irony, right? But yeah, but still, I believe what I'm on this. Black Monolith. I watched Astartes 1 to 5 and Warhammer Universe. Really, it got me interested, but I'm scared to dive in because I need time to do other stuff. Yeah, I understand. Warhammer, especially 40k, it's a rabbit hole. But the good thing is that there are so many podcasts and YouTube channels and stuff like that you can just have them, I mean, on the background, so you can consume a lot of information and do other things at the same time. So that's pretty neat. I remember when I started to understand, when I was confronted for the first time with the 40k universe, I think I might have been 9 years old or something like that. And I started to, and of course, yeah, you only could read what you had, like on a magazine or like a book, like a rule book or something from one game that a friend could have or something like that. So it was extremely limited. And I remember I'm not sure what piece of literature I got from a friend. It was about space marines, or they were talking about chapters and stuff. It's like, to me, a chapter, a book chapter. I mean, of course, through a 9 years old kid, right? So you have to take that into account. But I still remember how overwhelming the whole thing was. I knew that it looked amazing. It was like, what is this? I never seen something that way, and it captured my imagination, and I was in awe with it. But at the same time, it was so difficult for me to grasp what was the whole thing. So complicated and so many different parts and things, and so yeah, can be pretty daunting that way. but so fun, right? Well, I think. Lucius, you cannot pacify the Lord Commander Dante. He will pacify you. Yes. But so far, I think I can say that we are being pretty lucky. Lord Commander Dante, he's showing his merciful side. Carnivores, at the end of the day, we paint what we enjoy. Yeah, sure. But you know, yes, and it's totally fine. I'm definitely not the one judging. But at the same time, the facts are the facts, right? If you just like to paint generic fantasy orcs, that's what you do, and there is no more than that. You know what I mean? So it's, of course, I mean, of course, you can do very compelling things if you. I mean, it's not impossible to do like a very compelling piece with a generic orc as a with as an element in it, of course. But normally, I see an obsession on people just of drawing things for the sake of drawing them and just to look cool and not nothing more than it. I mean, a good example is this. So as I had said on the very beginning when I started this org, is just like I started with nothing really serious in mind, and just for wanting to do something that I didn't want to think much, and just going like a little bit in um, automatic mode. And I know what it is, right? So it's very generic and there's nothing special to it. It's just to have fun, like you are saying. But I know that that's what it's about and nothing else. Now, if everything that I was doing was just doing this, it's like, yeah, I might have a lot of fun with it, but what is that gonna say about me as an artist, right? So again, there's nothing wrong, but at the same time, if I want to create things that are compelling, if I want to have an artistic voice, and the only thing that I do is just do generic orcs and nothing else, and not only, and not just orcs, but just generic, and they have been done already 1,000 times, then, and even if they are fantastic on a technical level, you could say that, I mean, we are entering in mediocrity territory. Talking as an artist, And again, nothing wrong if that's what you like, fine. But still, the fact that is that one. You know what I mean? So uh, I think it is important to acknowledge these type of things. So nothing wrong, but just you need to be aware that that's what you do, or you only do fan art of or superheroes or anything. Then yeah, you're just gonna be one among millions that do the exact same thing and has not an artistic voice whatsoever. And once again, it's fine, but it is what it is. That's what I'm trying to say. So not saying from a judgmental point of view, just as a matter of fact. And yeah, and that's why, for instance, when you have somebody that has something very unique and a very unique vision of something or something personal, or like more personal, or then those artists or those pieces of work really stand out from the rest, because suddenly it's like, oh, there's a vision here, there is a voice. um, Subject that, by the way, I dive very deep in my course at CGMA, narrative illustration and characters, by the way. But yeah, it's if anything, the whole course, it's about that. At its core, it's about having something to say in the first place, and to use narrative for that. Oh, by the way, just in case you have missed it, but um, I just didn't want to lose the opportunity, especially because for some reason the Facebook algorithm is not helping me at all to spread the word. But if you know of anybody that might be interested, well, I think that would be nice. But I just put available for free most of all my Warhammer 40k fan art for printing. So you see, if you go to my ArtStation store, I put the Primark portraits last year. I think it was, but I can't remember. For free, the same thing, but now I just put another one with all these pieces in high resolution for printing, and it's for free. So if you know anybody that might be interested in downloading these to have their own prints, or yeah, just spread the word, because for some reason when I posted on Facebook, the algorithm didn't help anything. So yeah. Alrighty. So I think we are gonna leave it there for today. Like I said, I need to go to sleep. But yeah, like always, thanks a lot for joining today, guys. Always a pleasure talking to you. If as things look, um, next week I should be streaming as normal, but after that I will be taking a break for Christmas. But yeah, so see you next week, Tuesday, same time. And yeah, have a nice week. Paint and draw a lot. Have fun doing it. Take care of yourselves, and see you next week. All right. Take care, and like always, a pleasure. Bye bye.